Episode number 2. Episode number 2, baby. Let's go. We didn't get canceled. Shout out to our man Nojo on the other side of the glass. This is the Unedited Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel, along with my man Daniel. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? It's draft week, baby.
Yes,
it's draft week. But what we're going to do, we're going to do something a little bit different over here. We're not going to really do a best fit kind of scenario because that draft recap to me feels better because we can say the best fits after they happen as opposed to projecting where they should go. A lot of things are going to happen during the draft. Next week feels more appropriate to talk about the draft to me. So what we're going to do now, though, with the fact that there are a set of new players coming in, there are players that have to go. They just have to go. You had your chance.
Yes. Somebody else's turn. It's time to shine now.
Let it go. Let it go. And these players, we're going to put them in what we like to call a fantasy retirement home. And this is guys that were once great in fantasy, but just can't cut it anymore. Cannot cut it anymore. Just names. And if you have them on your team, it's just because
they're just names.
They're names. So that's the way we're going to kick it off today.
With number one.
Go ahead. Take over. Yep.
We have Todd Gurley. And this guy, Todd Gurley, was a former number 1 pick in fantasy. Now, can't even find a home anywhere in the NFL.
This one hurts me. I was a Todd Gurley manager last season. This man lost touches to Edo Smith and Brian Hill. Let me repeat that. Edo Smith and Brian Hill took touches from my guy.
Yes. It's sad. It's sad to say because from Todd Gurley, from when he was drafted to when he was on the Rams getting picked first, this man this guy had one of the great fantasy years I've ever seen. And now it's like
you said, he's not even talked about being picked up on a regular active roster. You know what I mean? So forget a fantasy roster. This man is not even getting sniffs from the 32 teams in the league. So, like I said, if you get him, you might pick him up and stash him on your bench in hopes that he finds the right spot. But no, he's shot. When you have guys like he was replaced actually by Mike Davis now. Took over at the starting running back on the Falcons. Like
can't even keep a straight face sometimes, man, when you bring up some of these names.
Yeah. It's hard. Man. Mike Davis.
All right. We have this person rushed for 82 rush attempts and ran for 368 yards. Le'Veon Bell.
That was his numbers?
Le'Veon Bell.
82 carries?
82. For the whole year.
Wow. He's done. All right. He falls into that Antonio Brown scenario also. They shouldn't have left Pittsburgh. I know Antonio Brown won a Super Bowl with Tampa. But he clearly is. He's actually someone else that's not on the roster himself. So I don't know if he's on your list. I haven't seen this list. So I'm shocked by these stats that you just called out. Because Le'Veon Bell was what you wanted in a fantasy running back.
And mind you, this man went to the Kansas City Chiefs, the number 1 offense in the NFL. Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes down with injuries, and this man still can't even be fantasy relevant.
And this guy was not only a number 1 running back option, this guy was also like having a number 2 wide receiver on your team. Yes. He would get you 80 catches, 75. You know what I mean? And now he's nowhere to be found. So it's time to step aside. I know he's still young, but he's only young in age. He's not young in NFL mileage, and it's time to move on.
And mind you, this is how crazy the NFL is. This man, 2 years ago, he held up for the whole year. He got drafted maybe high first, early second, and it's sad to say.
People thought it was him going to the Jets. It might just be him being done.
I think so.
It's him being done.
This next person caught 50 catches for 456 yards and 8 touchdowns. Talking about Jimmy Graham.
You have Jimmy Graham on it?
I have Jimmy Graham.
Man, I actually thought he had a pretty good year last year, honestly. But it's clear he hasn't been the same since leaving the Saints. So if you would have said this prior to this year in Chicago, which I actually think is more of a resurgence for him, if you would have told me this during his Seattle years, I would have been more inclined with it. But I actually like him on Chicago. I do.
But they did draft a rookie tight end. So that goes to show you what they think of Jimmy Graham.
Holcomb good.
We don't know because he came on strong last season. Late last season, I think he came on.
But Jimmy Graham did have, 8 touchdowns? Something
9
like
touchdowns.
That? 9 touchdowns. I mean, it's hard to say that he's done with those numbers. Like, what do you really want from a tight end? If you don't have the Kelsey, Kittle, Waller, you're looking for a tight end that scores.
Yep.
9 touchdowns or 9 touchdowns. You know what I mean?
But let me throw this curveball at you now. Man is not on a roster. He is not. He's a free
agent?
He is a free agent.
It was a 1 year they signed with him?
1 year.
Jets?
It's at
Jets?
Chris Herndon ain't it?
Herndon ain't it?
Chris Herndon is not it.
He's not it. But like I said, 9 touchdowns to 9 touchdowns, and that's what you want from a tight end. And see, the thing is, when you say not, and I'm gonna contradict what I'm saying, I guess, in a sense. I guess we have to see the way the touchdowns came.
We have to.
Because fantasy is not totality. I know people like to look at the total numbers and did he play. I care about what you did for me week in and week out. I don't look at fantasy averages because one week you can have 35, the next week you can have 5. Yep. The averages say you average 20 points per game, but one game you helped me win, the other game you didn't. So
made me lose.
I have to look at the way these 9 touchdowns were scored, but just on the surface, when you say 9 touchdowns from a tight end, I mean
that is a lot.
It
sounds like a lot.
So I have to see the way they came in games. If they came in bunches, did he have 2 touchdown games, 3 touchdown games? But I respect your list. And let's move on to number 4.
At number 4, this person had 54 receptions for 409 yards and 1 touchdown.
1 touchdown.
1 touchdown. Larry Fitzgerald.
And he should have did better because Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, there's no way that, those guys should have been getting looks before.
And he's not the single receiver. They have DeAndre Hopkins there, so he sees a lot of number 2 coverage.
That's what I meant. That's why I named the other guys, not DeAndre. Obviously, when Kyler Murray drops back to pass, he's looking for DeAndre. Option. But I'm talking about number 2, the tight end, and now he's moved on to Buffalo. What's his name? Tight end that they had. I know he had a good game against the Giants. He's not important.
Who cares? He's
not important. But like I said, Larry Fitz with those numbers, with the other options being Christian Kirk and Andy Isabella, that's unacceptable. And he's had a great career, great fantasy career. But it's time to move on, man. It really is. And now, they actually moved him out and brought in A.J. Green. So.
Man, please do not get me started on A.J. Green. Please don't.
I mean, you got a couple minutes, guys. Say what you got to say.
This guy ate. Listen, if Larry Fitzgerald wasn't there, I definitely would have put A.J. Green there. I'm sorry. I know.
You think he's done?
He's with the Cardinals. Like, you would think he'll be good. Man, this guy, all he does is run routes. Because I don't even think he caught a touchdown this year.
I think he did. He did.
Maybe 1, 2. Man.
I don't think he's done, man. I really don't.
So do you see him as a number 2 wide receiver? Let's be honest. Do you see him?
At this point in his career, he's better than Christian Kirk and Andy Isabella. I know I'm going to get some backlash for that. Man. I know I am. I would rather have AJ Green on my team than Christian Kirk or Andy Isabella. Yes, I would. So is he done? Possibly, but that just shows how bad the other guys are, if we're saying that way. So I'm not going to slight AJ Green. This is more slight of Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, than it is me actually praising AJ Green. But I actually do like the fit there for AJ, and he will outproduce those other receivers. He will be the second leading receiver on this team. So, and now that we got those out the way, that's the bad news.
Yeah, talking about old players.
Let's liven it up a little bit. We got the bad news out the way now. Now we want to talk about guys that, I don't know if you want to say they just sprung out of nowhere, But these are guys that are taking that next step up.
Next step.
And which we like to call like graduation day. So you're elevating up. You guys that had a solid year, but we expect what you did, we expect the next level. You know what I mean?
We do.
So who you got on that list?
Man, this person, number one, hottest rookie out there, Justin Herbert.
Guy. That's my guy. I hate to always personalize it, but I picked this guy up off waivers. Woo! And this guy rallied me off, I believe it was 6-7 wins in a row. I made a trade in which I brought over his running mate, Keenan Allen, and that battery carried my team. I had a solid team, but that battery carried my team. And anyone who's in that league can comment, they can attest that without that battery, my team would not have made it to the playoffs. I'm going to be honest with you. So I love it. What they do need to add, I feel they need to add more speed at the wide. I like the Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
Listen, Eckler's back. Eckler is back.
That's somebody I want to touch on, but that's another story for another day.
And listen, they have Jared Cook. I mean, yeah, they lost Hunter Henry and replaced Jared Cook. Never know.
This is a team that, and just to tie it up a little bit with the draft, if he slips, I don't believe he will. Please don't slip past number 11. Please don't slip past number 11. But if Jalen Waddle goes to this team.
Oh, man. I could just imagine.
If Jalen Waddle goes to this team, Justin Herbert will be a top 3 fantasy quarterback. Top 3. Top 3.
And And he was just a rookie last year.
Just a rookie. Add Jalen Waddle to this team to go along with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
Also Eckler. I keep saying Eckler. I don't think you look happy.
Man.
You don't like Eckler?
You can have Eckler, man.
Oh,
you can have
man.
Eckler. You can have Eckler. This is actually a place, crazy enough, and this to tie it up. If he doesn't want to take our advice and go to the retirement home, Todd Gurley can go there and be a backup. Because last year,
I agree.
Kalen Balaj. Todd Gurley, if you're out there listening,
the Chargers have a spot for you.
Definitely do. So who's next on your list?
At number 2, this person rushed the ball 134 times for 805 yards. Talking about J.K. Dobbins.
I like. The only thing that scares me about this team is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, and let me add, I know I said the only thing, but Gus Bus also. I want J.K. Dobbins on the field 90% of the time.
I do too.
I need him on the field 90% of the time. That offense is so run-centric, run-heavy, that he should get his opportunities, even with Gus Edwards coming in spot duty, but I do not want this man off the field.
See, the thing is, I don't think they trusted him early last year because he's a rookie, but look, he took over late. Over Mark Ingram.
Well, we talked about Mark
Gus
Ingram.
Edwards, and this guy was carrying the ball a lot at the end of the year. Listen, I know they have Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is dynamic with his legs. But listen, this man's going to see a lot of 1-yard touchdowns. And we know how heavy.
Getting vultured, man. That's my biggest fear for him.
Getting vultured?
Getting vultured.
By Lamar Jackson.
Getting vultured by Lamar Jackson. And if they sub him out for Gus Edwards, that scares me, man. I'm ready for him to take that step. I want to jump in with you. I do. In my eyes, he's a running back too. He is a running back too. In my eyes. Listen, Baltimore, in the regular season, I don't know what it is. These people, they put up a whole bunch of points. They put up a lot of points. They run the ball because you know why? Who do they have in that division? The Cleveland Browns? They're up and upcoming. Yeah. The Steelers? Yep. Come on, man. You done with the Steelers?
Big Ben's there? No. And we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. For real? Do we really even have to bring up the Bengals?
I think we do.
Besides Joe Burrow.
I think, man, to me, that's actually, besides the NFC West, that's actually the toughest division in football.
You think so?
That's the toughest division, second toughest division in football next to the NFC West. It is. But circling back to JK, Baltimore, just do me a favor. Well, do all fantasy managers a favor.
Give him the keys. Just give him the keys.
Yes, please.
Stop being scared.
Let that man tote the rock. Let that man tote the rock. Please. Please. Lamar Jackson, if you're listening, You're going to get yours. Let J.K. Dobbins eat a little bit, man. Let him eat a little bit, you know? You have no receiver to speak of. You're going to be
Sammy
running the ball.
Watkins.
You have no receiver to speak of.
Oh,
Keep
man.
show your face.
Can't even
You
keep
really
it.
said that? You have no receivers to speak of. Get J.K. Dobbins the ball early and often. Harbaugh, early and often, please.
At number
Thank you.
3, this person caught 87 catches for 1,118 yards. Terry McLaurin.
I actually love. I love it.
Listen, they have Ryan Fitzpatrick, which is a major upgrade over Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke,
And Alex Smith.
Well, Alex
in terms of fantasy, we're talking about
just fantasy.
Alex Smith is a better quarterback than Ryan Fitzpatrick. We know that, but fantasy-wise, you want your quarterback to air the ball out.
Yes.
Risk taker, gunslinger. That's what we want.
And that's exactly what Fitzpatrick is.
That's what he is. He has nothing to lose.
Listen,
I mean, he has nothing to lose.
I personally think that he's somewhat fantasy relevant.
He is.
Because of Terry McLaurin, because of Logan Thomas, because of their new addition, Curtis Samuel, that came over from the Panthers. Listen, they have Antonio Gibson.
Not Aaron Gibson.
Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson, right?
Listen, this man was getting, and listen, the corners they have over there are tough everywhere. The Cowboys are going to look for a corner. The Giants have
that's what I'm seeing in a lot of
mocks. The Giants have 2 corners, 2, 3, 4 corners.
Yes, we do.
Their secondary is amazing. Terry McLaurin needed somebody to help him. He got Curtis Samuel. Listen, he's a wide receiver number 1.
He's a wide receiver number 1. Oh, okay.
He's a true number 1 on his team.
I'm talking about fantasy. We're talking about fantasy.
And I'm talking about fantasy.
Yes.
Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to definitely get that man the ball.
Wide receiver number 1.
On the Dolphins, Devontae Parker got all these catches, looking fantasy relevant, and now, man.
And McLaurin is way better than Parker. That goes without saying. So
without saying.
I like this one a lot. And I'll go as far as to say, I was shocked that you had him there. Terry McLaurin is going to be a top 10 fantasy wide receiver this year. Top 10. And he won't be 10.
Oh, definitely not.
He won't be 10. He's going to be top 10, and he will not be 10.
Not be 10.
Mark my words. He will not be number 10. So.
I know. At number 4, this person only played 13 games, rushed 181 times for 803 yards, and 4 touchdowns. We're talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. At all?
I don't like it.
You don't think so?
I don't like it.
Oh, man.
I don't like it. I don't like it. No. And I don't like it because he came on strong. First game of the season.
100 yards. Touchdowns.
And after that, it was
disappeared, you think? But listen.
It was
As I said, 13 games. And that's bad to see as a rookie. 13 games. Running back. He's not the biggest. He's not a Derrick Henry type. He's more, James White. He's more on the smaller size. You don't like him at all?
At all.
On Kansas City?
I don't want to give away too much, my fantasy tidbits and all that on. I'm not going to reveal my hand all the way, but on this guy, I have no. You're in a league with me, you can have him. Take him. Take him.
And listen, last year,
take him.
Just last year, Kansas City goes, they get him, and he's looked at as the next Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, they definitely hyped him up.
Listen, this man got picked, before Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, because he's on that Kansas City offense, which I like. Listen, they have Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce.
If you did that, week 1, you look like a genius, but the rest of the year, did you? That's my thing. Like, week 1, he looked phenomenal.
Definitely did.
But after that, it was just, meh. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's just the word to describe him. Like, it's not really a word. Just,
listen,
average.
In my eyes, I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I do.
You got to sell me on it. You're a salesman. Sell me on this one, man.
That offense.
They
have Tyreek Hill. They have Kelce. But you see, every time they're up, they just like to throw. They have Patrick Mahomes. We get it. We get it. Super Bowl MVP. MVP of the league. But you have to run the ball. You need some type of run game. You see how they lost Damian Williams last year? And then now, look, they lose Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Listen, Le'Veon Bell, for real. Like, do we really have to go back to Le'Veon Bell? He looked terrible.
I don't want to talk about him anymore.
listen, they didn't even trust him. If Clyde Edwards-Helaire stays healthy, listen, I know I talk about Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey. I'm not saying he's one of those guys.
Okay.
But he's one of these, like, I put him in the category with Austin Eckler. He can get you 100 and 100. And listen, I know they might get. I know his touchdowns aren't really high, 4 touchdowns for the whole year. But listen, those little bonuses that you get, 100 yards going both ways, receiving and running.
And they just made the big trade a couple of days ago.
Yes,
with
they rebuilt their
Ravens.
whole offensive line.
They did.
Offensive line. It's
Kyle Long out of retirement.
Kyle Long.
Mm-hmm.
They have people coming back that missed last season due to COVID.
The doctor.
Yes.
The doctor.
Yeah. The right guard. The
doctor.
Listen.
Tardif.
Yes.
I hear you, but I'm not listening to you.
I
hear you, but I'm not listening to you.
Listen, I know for a lot of people, it's not a hard sales pitch. It's not. Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the Kansas City Chiefs, that's like a match made in heaven. But listen, I'm sold. I'm trying to sell you, but it looks like you're not being sold here.
I want to buy. I do. My alligator arms.
Alligator arms.
I got the alligator arms when it comes to paying for. No, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. There are too many other running backs that I could just, off the top of my, I won't bore people with it now, that I can name off the top of my head that I'll take before this guy, man. So, is this guy top 10?
No, he's not. He's top 15. In my eyes, he's top 15. Listen, just seeing that offense, like you have to think about.
Let's bookmark that one for next. I'm gonna name 15 people that
15?
I'll take next week. I will have 15 names that I'll take before this guy next week.
All right.
Hold me to that.
All right.
Hold me to that.
I will.
All right.
Listen.
Hold me to that.
I definitely will. 15 people.
15 people.
All right.
15 people. I can't do it, man. I want to move on from him, but I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I cannot buy Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man. And there are people that are definitely going to disagree with me, but I know there are some out there that do agree with me. And those that do agree with me, we're right. We're right. Just remember that. We're right.
No.
We're right. I'm not saying that Dino's wrong, but I'm saying that we're right. Okay? Just remember that. Just remember that. Fun show, man. It's all fun, though, man. It's all fun. I know we might come across as haters to some guys. We're just telling you how we feel, man. We're talking football, man. We're talking football.
That's got to be the second best job in the world. Talking football.
We're talking football. We're talking football. So, I mean, we do this for fun. We love it. And we do appreciate everyone that did view the first show.
The first episode. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone. We're going to get it out there on more platforms. Trust me, guys. You could already see the production is a lot different thanks to Nojo and Rob Jones, a.k.a. DJ Superstar Jones. There's a lot. We have so much.
We have so much
in store. We're just only going to give you bits and pieces. Bits and pieces. We're not going to give you everything at once, you know?
This week is a big week in the NFL, as we keep harping back on it. The NFL draft. Listen, there's a lot of players, whole bunch of players.
I'm excited for the draft. Like I said, when it comes to the draft, you don't want to have a show. Show would feel, I guess, I don't want to say wasted. Wasted is because there are people that are going to do shows, but I would rather do. This is where you went. Do I like the move for you or not? As opposed to Kyle Pitts. Will he be a Bengal? Will he be a Dolphin? No. Will he be, a Giant straight up for him? Like, you can speculate on all that, but I would rather the concrete evidence, and Kyle Pitts was drafted by the Dolphins. How do we feel about it? Gut reaction, like it, dislike it. That's what I want to do. That's what we're going to do on the show. We could have touched on the draft a little bit more. People are probably going to say that, but that's a whole nother show. That's next week. Yes. That's next week. And I'll be remiss if I didn't say this. I know you guys see Big Blues Clues on the screen. We will have our guy, Sean Brown, a.k.a. I Bleed Blue Forever. He will be, I want to repeat, he will be a weekly guest on this show. He will be a weekly guest on this show. Blues Clues, he's going to, give us tidbits on fantasy advice, things like that, players to pick up, the sleepers and players to pick up. But that's in the weeks to come. That's more so when the season starts. I just know you guys see it on the screen and wondering, what's Blues Clues? That's what it is. And it will be, it will come to fruition when the season starts. But quick show, good show. Like I'm excited for the draft.
I am too.
I'm glad we got to speak our piece on some of these guys. Bye to the Larry Fitz of the world. Who else was on that list? Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley,
Jimmy Graham.
I don't agree with Jimmy Graham. I don't agree with him. That's why I left him off on purpose. I don't agree with Jimmy Graham. And when it comes to graduation day, guys moving on up, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who I don't agree with.
Justin Herbert.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. Who's the other two?
Terry McLaurin and J.K. Dobbins.
I agree with both of those. J.K. Dobbins is contingent on Lamar Jackson not vulturing him. But I like the list. I love it. I can't wait to just talk more football. Like it feels like these shows go so fast, But I can't wait till next week. We're gonna, like I said, get more in depth with the draft, talk about what actually happened as opposed to projecting what we hope happens. Concrete is better when it comes to the actual NFL draft. We're gonna give our opinion on fantasy, but concrete NFL draft will lead to our fantasy opinion on the players.
And you never know these draft day trades. You never know.
Where you watching the draft?
My house.
Oh man, I mentioned Big Blue. Me, Big Blue, we going out to Buffalo Wild Wings. Come through with us, man.
I will. Thank you.
I got you. But that's it for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate. We can't state it enough, man. We can't.
The support, man.
The support was real on the first episode, man.
Thank you.
The support was real. Like I said, we're going to get it out there more social media. We're going to be more active. Hit us up, guys. Hit us up.
Feel free.
All comments are welcome. Positive, negative. Hit us up. Talk to us. We want the show to be better.
Yes.
We do the show for you guys, man. So we appreciate the love. We out. See you next week.